Shock the system. Bulletcast for life.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the #1 sports and recreational podcast in the world. I'm your host, I'm the Podfather. I'm the #1 sports and recreational podcaster in the world, and I'm your reigning, defending Bulletcast champion, just like Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roddy Strong, and Adam Cole, baby. This title reign is #forever undisputed, and I'm joined by my tag team partner. He's the Stevie Ray to my Booker T. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the Canadian Destroyer, Brandon. How's it going there, buddy?
It's going good. This is like the first time we've done a duo podcast for, I don't know, a couple weeks now. Usually we've had a three-man booth, and then you kicked me out 1 week, so
hey, man.
We're back together for the A-team.
The A-team, yes. We're like Jordan Pippen. So, am I Jordan or?
I'm Jordan.
You're Jordan. Okay, all right. No, for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this performance-enhancing audio, episode 103. So, outside of the ring, during a recent interview with Inside of the Ropes over in the UK, Triple H says he wants to do away with the term main roster. And simply, if somebody goes to Raw or SmackDown, it's just a trade, not a call-up. Or if somebody from Raw and SmackDown can go over to NXT or NXT UK, vice versa. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, this is something Triple H has been saying for a while, that he sees NXT as a third brand. He doesn't want to see Raw and SmackDown as like the main roster. He wants it to be one total ecosystem, and we will get into it. But with the Performance Center on the UK, and then we have stuff going on all over the world, maybe doing like in Asia NXT or Japan NXT, and Triple H tries to take a global global localization. Whatever that means. Kind of sounds like an oxymoron if you ask me. But anyways, it's just something that he said for a long time. It's going to be really hard to do just because SmackDown and Raw have been, especially Raw, has been ingrained as the top show in wrestling. So if you have NXT UK, NXT US, or whatever, I think it's going to be an uphill battle. But if Triple H finally takes over power, maybe he can finally see that come to fruition.
Yes, absolutely. I'm a fan of it. Let's see. I don't know. Zack Ryder had a little taste of NXT with the Hype Bros. Maybe he can go back and do something over in NXT. Tyler Breeze is probably the perfect example. I'd love to see go back to NXT, and I think he could flourish in the North American Championship scene. Go up against the likes of Ricochet or possibly even a Johnny Gargano. So the term main roster. I think it's gonna take us a little time to get used to not saying main roster a lot, but give it time, and I think it could be a good thing for World Wrestling Entertainment. All right, the NXT UK Performance Center made its debut to the wrestling world this past weekend ahead of NXT TakeOver Blackpool. What do you think of the Performance Center? I know you covered it a little bit on Under the Radar.
I mean, it's another Performance Center. It's a little smaller than the one in Florida, but it has less people, so it makes a little bit of sense. It's kind of basically like a shrunk down version. It has all the different stuff, just at a smaller capacity, less rings, less training equipment, and all that stuff. So we already kind of talked about it, just WWE's global takeover. And going back to the main roster topic just for a sec, if it would be nice if there was more synergy between if there is like 5 or 6 different brands, to like have like trades and have people like have a connection compared to like what we do now, where it's just a call up. So NXT loses talent and the main roster just gets talent, and there's no like trades or any.
They just acquire a whole bunch of talent.
And that's what kind of makes it seem like it's the main roster. It's the major leagues and NXT's AAA. The AAA team has to call them up. Yes, well, technically in baseball you have to send somebody down, but they don't even do that on the main roster.
Main roster is what the NFL, NXT's college football. So
well, that's technically not the same thing because it's not linked together. Baseball, it's a much better analogy. And basketball.
I watch pro wrestling, man. I'm sorry.
Or not the Premier League.
I tried to do another sports analogy. Can I at least get an A for effort?
I'm not out here giving A's for effort.
Wow.
You have to earn it.
Well, Kevin Owens, he dropped some more weight. I saw a recent picture of him floating online. He's looking very, very trim. Very trim and slim.
I mean, good for KO. If you look back in his ROH days, he was even bigger than what he was in WWE. So he continues to lose weight, and if he was that great when he was whatever 280, 300 pounds, just imagine what he can be if he's in the low 200s.
I know. Shut it. 205 Live?
I mean, you never know. I mean, Matt Hardy was able to trim down and get on the cruiserweight roster. Don't know if KO can get down that much, but
That's when the cruiserweight limit was like 215, though.
exactly, or 220.
Something like that.
It's 220, I think.
I think the light heavyweight division was like 222 or some weight class like that. But congratulations KO, getting his life right, looking tight. I digs it. All right, let's talk some inside of the ring. Walter makes his debut at NXT Takeover UK Blackpool after a fantastic match with Joe Coffey and Pete Dunne for the NXT UK Championship. What are your thoughts?
It was exciting to see Walter come into NXT UK. It's pretty much what we thought was going to happen. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen on Saturday. Both Walter coming in, and now Pete Dunne versus Walter. I mean, that seems like a fantastic match if they have another NXT takeover again, or even if this leads into an NXT, they merge and they have this match on the NXT takeover show in New York. I mean, it'd be great. I'm very much looking forward to that match. But who plays the heel?
That's face versus face is fine. We should have went to go see Walter when he was at APW that one time.
Should have.
Would have, could have. What do you think about NXT Takeover though, the UK version?
I watched the important stuff. I watched the opening match. I watched the women's match. I watched the men's match. It was a very good show. The UK crowd is always different. I have my qualms with it from here and there. Sometimes they kind of get themselves over a little too much with my liking, but it was a very good show. The Finn Balor surprise was a nice little thing to give the crowd, and I'm not going to sit here and say it was on the same level as the regular NXT takeovers. I don't think it was that good, but it was a good show.
Yeah, it was something different. Shout out Prince Devitt making a little splash in the UK, going up against Jordan Devlin. We got some Balor news to talk about though. Once we talk about Monday Night Raw, but before we hit that, this day in wrestling, real quick, a Raw happened on this day in 2012. This is when my boy CM Punk was your WWE champion, and he was going into his Royal Rumble feud with Dolph Ziggler for the title. And this was during that time where he wrestled like Mark Henry 5 weeks in a row. Yeah.
I mean, this was back when we were all just waiting for John Cena versus The Rock. Just waiting for The Rock to come back.
Just waiting for that amazing John Cena, Dwayne Johnson rivalry. Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, we got some fan mail. Let's make it happen. Alright, so where should we start off?
Start off with the oldest one.
Alright, Jack of all trades. Thoughts on the women's tag titles and what it will do for the division?
Well, how do we know what it's going to do for the division? We've never seen this division before.
That's very true, This division existed back in the, 80s? It's going to give certain people some time on TV, some time to shine, give them a run with some gold. But honestly, I think if we have to add another title, I think a singles women's championship would benefit these girls a lot more, like not a IC, but like maybe a women's television title, something like that. We'd get to see certain people displayed in a different light to show off their single attributes as opposed to being in a tag match.
I mean, we've said this on many occasions. I don't think there should be a women's tag team division. You look outside, you have the Iconics, you have the Riot Squad, you have Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, you have Sasha and Bayley, but I mean, I'd much rather see Sasha and Bayley be singles. And you look at those at least 3 tag teams, not very appealing in terms of match quality, and I mean, all 3 of those teams are heels, so it doesn't really make any sense. So you're gonna have to, have some makeshift teams with kind of like what Naomi and Asuka were doing, just kind of 2 singles people thrown together. I kind of agree with you. I don't know exactly how you would do it. I would consolidate the divisions together, just have one main division on Raw or SmackDown, and so it's a bigger scene, so you can have that secondary title, be it a TV title or whatever you want to call it. But I'm not the biggest fan of the tag. I don't even know who has been asking for these tag team titles. Like, okay, a few people might have been like, oh, that'd be a cool thing to do, but just because a few people say it doesn't mean you should do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a strong division for this, like you were just saying. You were naming off the few people that could be participating in this, and foreshadowing, going to what Elimination Chamber. They said what 3 from Raw, 3 from SmackDown inside the chamber. So I don't know how all that's gonna play out or whatever, but would much rather, if we have to introduce a new title for the women, I'd like to see a singles women's championship. All right, and next up, this is probably my favorite email address we've ever gotten.
That's high regard right there.
It smells like broken here. Going with the AirPod memes that are circulating around the social media game. It smells like broken here. This is my favorite one. WWE is really going forward with this new era of the company, with Bliss being naked while changing on Raw, and the whole Mandy versus Naomi storyline for Jimmy.
Was that a question or was that a statement?
I guess it's just a statement. So let's elaborate on this. What are your thoughts on
Well, we can
those
get-
things that he talked about? I mean, we can talk about that once we hit Raw and SmackDown. But shout out to that email address. That's fun. Your boy, Hootie Who 420.
Hootie hoo.
All right. This just came in like a few minutes ago. Wow.
Right under the radar.
Oh, hey. All right.
Good thing it's a later podcast. or else we wouldn't have got to him.
All right. Where did the term performance-enhancing audio come from, and what are the terms and conditions to get on the show? Well, the term PEA, I can't take credit for it. Shout out Brian Campbell, CBS Sports. He did the, was it In This Corner podcast, but now it's called The State of Combat, so I have to shout out him for that one. It's not my brainchild. I wish it was. But, I think we provide even more performance-enhancing audio on the Bulletcast than they do over on The State of Combat. And what are your what do you say, terms and conditions for getting on the show?
Show up.
I mean, hey, look, man. Any man, woman, or child can listen to this show. If you want to come on, hey, we don't care about gender, sexual orientation, religion, creed, race, ethnicity. Look, Bulletcast is for everyone. If you love pro wrestling, if you watch the product, if you love this art form, you can come on and voice your opinions about this sport.
Unless you're Canadian.
You just undermined the whole. We don't care.
Oh.
Balor Club's for everybody. Bulletcast is for everyone. Well, I should put that on the shirt, huh?
I'm still waiting for my shirt. I've been told for like 2 years I'm getting a shirt.
This is the only Bulletcast memorabilia that I have on at the moment. But we have a whole bunch of designs. Stuff's coming. I gotta get all that worked out. All right. Let's make it happen. Monday Night Raw. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try a new format with Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. So with Raw, we'll hit all the big main event stuff first, and then we'll go down what happened out the rest of the show. But SmackDown, we'll go in chronological order. Try to shake it up. Since it's a new era of WWE, let's try a new era of the rundown of the shows here on the BC. Alright, so the Universal title picture has gotten all rearranged. Braun Strowman, he destroys the limo that Vince McMahon was in. He destroys Vince McMahon's limo because he had a verbal altercation with Baron Corbin earlier on in the show. Corbin runs and he hides in the limo. He finds out Corbin's in the limo thanks to Elias, a man I walk with. And then so he rips the door off its hinges. He dismantles the side mirror, and Vince McMahon fines him with $100,000.
The same that Charlotte got for Survivor Series.
Yes, exactly. And he takes him out of the Universal Championship match against Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. Thoughts on all that first?
So the early stuff with all the Braun Strowman, I mean, it's Braun Strowman doing Braun Strowman things. He tips over a limo. He breaks the limo. I don't exactly know why Braun Strowman is taken out of the equation. There's like rumors that, it's health, which makes a lot of sense. But then wouldn't you maybe the elbow is a lot worse than they thought, or there's some other reasons that I haven't, or this was like the plan the entire time, which I don't understand why that would even be the case.
Yeah, that's what your boy Dave Meltzer said.
But that makes no sense for me personally. Why would you build this match for whatever it's been like, a month or 2 months, like ever since TLC, like this was like the official thing, but they've been building this since before TLC.
Yeah.
And why would you have this match in mind because the thing is they didn't want Braun to job out to Brock. So then, why did you build it in the first place if you know eventually the match is going to have to happen, and if you want Brock against Seth or whatever the thing is at WrestleMania, someone's got to lose.
Maybe ticket sales weren't doing so well, and they were like, all right, we got to change the plan, and Finn versus Brock, that's, spoiler alert, but that's pretty big news.
Or was that segment last week so terrible that Vince was like, maybe we shouldn't go with Braun? I don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
I don't think Braun should have, been there in the first place.
This
but
is
whatever.
probably an unpopular opinion. I don't think Braun Strowman is main event title picture material. I'm sorry, I don't. He can, he'll probably get like a, hey, thanks for dealing with all this title run down the line, kind of like what Show's been subjected to over the years, but I don't think Braun Strowman's main event caliber material for a championship. He could be in main events and just escape and not win the big one, but I mean, come on, really think about it. He goes into the Royal Rumble and he loses to Brock again. That would be what, like the fourth time? He jobbed to him twice in singles competition. He jobbed to him in that fatal he didn't job to him. He didn't get pinned, but he lost in that fatal 4-way match at SummerSlam a few years ago. And then, of course, last year's Royal Rumble in that triple threat with Kane. He has done nothing to secure the Universal Championship, so why put him in another match yet again where we have somebody who we really want to see in this title picture, who's just oozing all this charisma? I mean, Braun, is he charismatic? Yeah, but he's no Finn Balor.
I've been banging that drum for a long time that Braun Strowman shouldn't even be like on TV, let alone being on the main event title picture. You have him, you can parade him out there every week, just not on TV, not having all these storylines, because when you overexpose Braun, not to be mean, but he's kind of a one-trick pony. They went back to the well again with him tipping over the limo. And even when he was doing the stuff when it was like super over, I was even saying like, this is like dumb. It's like clearly not real. He's tipping over an ambulance or living in the dumpster for a week and whatever, like the other stuff he's been doing. So it's going to be interesting if other like legit news comes out about Braun, but I just think the whole situation is kind of weird of, building this match for 2 months and then 2 weeks into it, you just say, oh, no, okay, we're going somewhere else.
Yeah. So anyway, Vince McMahon comes out to the arena, addresses the people, and he's cut off by Big Match John. John Cena's getting the crowd fired up. He talks about how, he can defeat Brock Lesnar. He can go on to become a 17-time champion, and he tells Vince that he still has a whole bunch of ruthless aggression. And then, who makes his way out there? Drew McIntyre, the Scottish Terminator. He gets right in Vince McMahon's face, and he says, this is what ruthless aggression looks like. He tells John Cena his time is up, and McIntyre's time is now.
I wonder where he got that from.
Hey, I don't know. Baron Corbin makes his way out there. He says, he was almost assaulted by Braun, so he should be awarded a championship match against the Beast. And then Finn Balor comes out there and he says, hey, he's the only guy that's ever actually been Universal Champion, so he should get the shot. And then I really enjoyed this exchange between Vince and Finn, and I wish I had the soundboard.
Look at all this beef.
Yeah, look at all this beef. It's playing off of the real life. Vince likes bigger guys, and he's not really a fan of the smaller guys. And Finn was playing the fan where we want to see him, and Vince was playing Vince McMahon, the corporate guy. No, we want the big guys. So Finn's like, all right, let me show you. Then he starts assaulting Baron Corbin. Eventually, Drew McIntyre stands tall over all the guys, and a fatal 4-way is made later on in the night. But before we even get to that, Jinder Mahal talks to Vince, the former WWE champion, says he wants one of the guys in the fatal 4-way, and if he can beat them, then he gets an opportunity. And I don't know why he chose Finn Balor. He should have chose Baron Corbin, the weakest of the four, but, that's whatever. Anyway, Jinder does the job.
Because nobody wanted to see Jinder versus Baron Corbin.
Oh, man, that's a main event anywhere in the world. What the other guys say? Corbin versus Reigns would tear the house down?
Still waiting for that to happen.
Yeah. Anyway, Jinder loses.
That's why we kicked him off, because he said stupid stuff like that.
Jinder loses to Finn Balor, so Finn going over strong over the former WWE champion. And then we get to the main event, and Finn Balor hits the coup de grace on Big Match John Cena and pins him clean. And it will be Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar for the main event. I think it's the main. I think it's the main event.
I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the main event.
The
Rumble match will be the main. I think the men's Royal Rumble match will be the main event.
Anyway, a marquee match at Royal Rumble for the Universal Championship. Balor versus Lesnar. Thoughts on all that?
So, I mean, this was the show. This was Finn Balor's show. He was on like a lot of different segments. He should have beaten Jinder Mahal, and then the match itself, the Fatal 4-Way, was a very good match. Finn Balor, he seems over. We've been talking for a little bit that maybe he's due for a mega push. Maybe he ends up facing Undertaker at WrestleMania. That's like the big rumor going around right now that maybe that's the thing. I'm not going to get too excited. I think Finn's losing. If he wins, so be it. So then that kind of opens the door. Where do you go from here? Do you have Finn face Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania? Do you have Finn turn heel and go up against Seth Rollins? I mean, you can go a whole bunch of different ways, and this is kind of the fun of WrestleMania season. You can, even though they probably have a set schedule of what they're going to do, you can fantasy book in your head and go a whole bunch of different directions, even though none of them is going to even happen.
Yeah, I mean, but look, we're getting Balor versus Lesnar, so I mean, kudos to Brock, for wanting to work Finn.
I mean, does Brock really? Brock doesn't care. Show up and pay the man. He'll do whatever he wants. I'm a little afraid of what the match is going to be. Is it going to be just like Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar? I mean, I really liked the match, but it was kind of like one-dimensional for a long time. Those first 5-10 minutes where Brock was just suplexing the hell out of Bryan. I'm afraid this might happen the same with Finn Balor.
Brock works better with the smaller guys. He had a nice one with AJ. That match with Daniel Bryan, I enjoyed it. Does Balor bring out the demon?
If he wins, sure. If he loses, he shouldn't. Braun or Finn Balor should never lose when he brings out the demon.
I'm saying, what if the demon shows up at the Rumble, then he's guaranteed to win, right?
I guess, but I mean the demon versus the beast. It writes itself, but you're gonna hype this up on 1 week's notice. I don't think so. We've only seen the demon twice.
Or does Braun show up in the match, cost Brock the title?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Braun's not even. I don't think he's scheduled for the Royal Rumble at the moment, so we could get some sort of shenanigans. But I mean, that's a way you can go. You can have Brock and Braun. Braun screws over Brock, and then that's the WrestleMania match for WrestleMania. But I just don't think Braun is the type of wrestler to get the rub from Brock if there is any rub to be gained. I think a Finn, a Seth, even a Drew McIntyre, some younger guy who's going to be with the company for a long period of time. And Braun might be there for a long time, but I just don't see him being the type of guy to be.
There's still rub to get from beating Brock.
Yeah, I know. So, and I just don't think Braun is the right guy to get that rub. If Finn's going to beat Brock, it should be clean, I guess, because then if Braun goes and faces Brock at WrestleMania, it's just okay. If Braun beats Brock, then okay, whatever. But if someone beats him clean, who's not Braun Strowman and like a smaller guy, after however long it's been, like 3-4 years, however long he's kind of been sort of undefeated. I mean, that's gonna be a big moment, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. All right, the other big news from Monday Night Raw: we have a new Intercontinental Champion, and his name is the Almighty Bobby Lashley in a triple threat match with former Intercontinental Champion Dean Ambrose and another former Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins. Leo Rush pulls Seth Rollins out of the ring while he's going to hit the ropes to hit a curb stomp, and then Lashley comes in, spears Ambrose, and pins the champion to become the new champion. Thoughts on my boy Lashley winning the Intercontinental title?
I'm not going to say it came out of nowhere. It was a little bit of a surprise to see Bobby Lashley win the title.
Didn't expect it.
Seth Rollins didn't get pinned. It was Dean Ambrose who took the pinfall. They say that the automatic rematch clause is antiquated, so that doesn't exactly mean we're going to get Lashley versus Dean. But then what do you do? I mean, they're not going to be in the Royal Rumble, I assume, because I think all three of these guys are in the Royal Rumble match. So there's not going to be an IC title match for the Royal Rumble. You can build this up to Elimination Chamber. And I don't know exactly where you go. If there was some sort of reason why they got the title off of Dean. Who knows? Maybe maybe Finn Balor's winning, and then Dean Ambrose wins the Rumble, and so then we're gonna get Dean Ambrose versus Finn Balor at WrestleMania. I mean, that's not gonna happen. But I don't know why you would take the title off of Dean. Kind of out of nowhere, but I have faith. I have faith. Not a lot of it.
Hey man,
but,
shake things up again. But we in the African American community, we are very happy that our boy Lashley is the IC champ. If I do a Black Power ranking this week, he's numero uno.
The champion of the continents.
Yes, I'm the champion of podcasts, so it just makes sense.
So like a world champion means you're the continents and the oceans. But
yes.
Intercontinental is just strictly land-based.
Just strictly land, yes.
Okay, so, all right, I got it.
Yeah.
Future reference.
Yes, for anybody that was confused about that, world champion, you're the champion of the land and the water, and the Intercontinental champion, you just got the land. Yes.
See, this is what you learn on this podcast.
Exactly.
That's what you're here for.
We break down the meaning of championships. That's what we're here for, man. All right.
So then the Universal Champion should be the biggest championship, but whatever.
So,
The most...
I mean, there's another Universal title that's around. It's the APW Universal title. So, I mean, should Brock and Jacob Fatu have a match? Is that person the true Universal Champion?
Maybe. I guess that's what we have to find out now.
There we go. Hey,
Maybe there's like aliens out there who also have Universal Champions, and they come down,
Yes.
and then they have to, make it a fatal four-way or a tag team match. Playa, who knows?
A nice Teddy Long reference. All right, what else happened on Monday Night Raw? Sasha Banks and Rowdy Ronda Rousey, the Raw Women's Champion, defeat Tamina and the former Raw Women's Champion Nia Jax in a tag team match. And then Charlie Crusoe's out there talking to Banks and Rousey's like, "Oh, I appreciate you, I like you, yada yada yada." Banks is like, "Don't be fooled, I'm taking that title away from you," all this other stuff. Thoughts on this?
Ronda basically didn't do anything in the tag team match, and the promo exchange was I wouldn't say awkward, but it was just not as free flowing as I thought it could have been. Like Ronda was sort of nice to Sasha, and then I think Sasha just kind of blew it out of proportion. If this does lead to some sort of Sasha Banks heel turn, I'm okay with it. But if it is just like face, just bantering back and forth, because no women can't get along. Eventually, they're gonna fight, because that's what we've learned from WWE booking, is that women can't get along. So
They gonna get their wig snatched. I'm sorry.
okay.
I apologize.
Any hoot, we got Sasha Banks. I mean, I liked her delivery. I liked her intensity that she was showing, and then Ronda. I didn't like how Ronda was just like kind of like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that." It was just like Ronda should have been a little bit more forthcoming and just been like, "Yeah, I'm gonna beat you because I respect you and I'm gonna bring my A game and stuff like that." And it was good. It was fine for what it was, but I just thought like it could have been better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the match at the Rumble is gonna be great. I have no doubts about that. But the way we're getting there, I mean, what do they have? What, 2 more Raws before?
Just one.
Oh, just one.
Next week's to go home.
This
was the penultimate episode of Raw.
All right, so next week's to
Before
go
the
home.
Rumble.
Maybe they spice it up really well. They put some paprika on this feud. I don't know.
Sriracha.
Hey, I'm all about that sriracha. Tapatio.
Nah.
Really?
Nah.
Wow. All right, moving on from that. The Revival defeat Lucha House Party, and interesting news: Scott Dawson acquired the trademark for FTR. Hashtag FTR.
Good for him.
So a non-WWE thing is being displayed on WWE television by their quote-unquote future competitors. That was the brainchild of hashtag FTR.
But there is rumors out there that after this match, maybe sort of somebody of the Revival might have asked for their release. And then that gets rumors going about, oh, we're going to get Revival versus the Young Bucks eventually. They said it's going to happen, and now it's going to happen. They can ask for their release all they want. They can just be like Neville and just sit on the sideline for a year and then just wait till their contract runs out.
And then plus there's that 90-day no-compete clause and all that other
But
stuff.
Double or Nothing is more than 90 days away.
Yeah.
So, just saying. But I mean, I think WWE is well aware that the Revival might, like, aside from AJ Styles or Finn Balor, might be like the number one pick that AEW would want to go after just because of this feud between them and the Young Bucks.
It's true. We're gonna have to wait to see where all this plays out. But I'm not really a fan of this Lucha House Party thing.
You just figured that out now.
No, I don't think I've ever really said it on the podcast. Just getting it out there. I'm not a fan of it.
Join the non-Lucha House Party fan club.
Join the non-Lucha House Party.
Yes. We the people.
Shout out Jack Swagger. Alright, well, moving on from the Revival and the House Party. Bayley, Natalya, and Nikki Cross, NXT's Twisted Sister, Controlled Chaos, makes their debut on Monday Night Raw, and they defeat the Riot Squad. So we've learned with these potential, they're no longer call-ups, these people who will be coming to Raw and SmackDown, they will have brief stints where they will be on each show, and then until a final decision has been made on which show they will be on permanently. So Lacey Evans backstage talking to what Mickey James and Dana Brooke. EC3 popped up on Smackdown.
No, EC3 was also on Raw, just waiting in the line with the jobbers trying to talk to Vince McMahon, which I did not think was a good look for EC3. I did not like, out of all the people that debuted, I didn't like how they portrayed EC3. And it seems as though the dark matches he's been wrestling as a face. So he's coming out there just in his tights, just sitting there, looking himself in the mirror, and he's sitting there with the jobbers. Not exactly the best start to EC3. He should have been at least in the suit. If he is a face,
Yeah.
I don't know how you portray EC3 as a face without him talking. Because, let's be honest, you look at EC3 and the way he carries himself, he looks like a heel.
Yeah, he looks like a douche.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. I mean, yeah, him being in the line with the Jobert was not a good look for him. But, hey, what are you gonna do? Anyways,
No Lars Sullivan to speak of.
no, because he had apparently like an anxiety attack or something.
Which was last week. I don't suffer from anxiety. I don't know what the protocol is, but that is kind of something of note. Like, everybody else has debuted, sort of, except for Lars Sullivan, even though he was the one to be slated for a really big thing. Maybe he debuts at the Rumble and eliminates John Cena. Who knows?
Possibly. All right. So, what are your thoughts on this 6-woman tag?
It was good. It really got over Nikki Cross's character. At first, when she came out, I was like, really? She's going to be on Raw? But then Michael Cole said, they're going to be on Raw and SmackDown, which I guess makes sense. I don't really know, but whatever. I think she's a better fit on SmackDown. I think the women's division on SmackDown fits better, and there's Sanity, who we haven't seen in who knows how long. Sanity's been there, and do people even remember that Nikki Cross was originally part of Sanity? Even though her music is basically like a remix of their music.
Yeah, it's just with that laugh, which I'm not going to lie, her music sounds pretty cool.
I like Nikki Cross, Thicky Cross, as Sean would like to say.
Heyo, he was at Wrestle Kingdom. Hope he had fun. Hope he brought me something back. Keep going.
Anyways, I wish I was at Wrestle Kingdom, but
Yeah. What are you going to do?
One day. But it was a good 6-woman tag team match. They kind of set it up throughout the show with the whole Ronda Rousey Sasha Banks situation. So it was a six tag match. It was fine for what it was.
All right, and before we got another moment of bliss, Alexa Bliss is in her dressing room. She is changing, and a WWE assistant producer, whatever, is bringing her her coffee latte, and she's changing. We just walks in on her. Thoughts on that?
All she had to say was like, "One moment, I'm changing." She didn't have her AirPods in because Alexa Bliss definitely has AirPods because she ain't broke.
Yeah,
AirPod team out here.
for sure, man.
Anyways,
Like, it don't smell like broken here.
I don't know if I've ever seen you with AirPods.
Wow.
Anyways, it was dumb for the whole. It was not as dumb as what happened on SmackDown, but we will get into that. But the Alexa Bliss situation, I don't understand what they're doing with her. Like, yes, she's not wrestling, so all she's doing is talking. So now is she just like a sex bot? And with the whole WWE situation where they're like trying to do, women's revolution, like when it comes to Impact, what Scarlett Bordeaux is doing over on Impact, she's like a super sex pot, and she's just like over the top with it. And I'm okay with that because it's like it's in its own little bubble, and she is like, because when Alexa Bliss is gonna go out there and become a wrestler again, if she is, she's gonna be like, just a regular wrestler. But that's not her character. It was just like we walked in on a moment of bliss, you might say. But anyways,
that's why I keep this guy around.
It was like it came out of nowhere. It was dumb. Yeah, I'm not gonna say any more about that.
Yeah, but Scarlett, we should talk more about Scarlett Bordeaux though. We really should.
Great Instagram follow.
Yeah, she just like I've seen it. She just sits in a chair during like men's matches.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wearing very revealing.
Impact's on a Pursuit now. I had to change the DVR. Missed the first episode, but it's on Twitch as well.
The Pursuit Network.
And it's I don't know why, but on mine on DirecTV, it's like broken up into 4 30-minute shows.
Oh, Impact Wrestling.
So I'm afraid that it's only going to record like the first half hour, and then it does record the rest. Because I ain't watching it live. I'm gonna be honest.
I'll just follow it on Twitch. All right, yeah. So we have a moment of bliss, and Little Miss Bliss reveals the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. First of all, thoughts on the design of the championships?
The designs are very well done. Maybe not as good as the new men's UK Tag Team Championship.
look
Those were very, very nice. But to be honest, they might be like the best designed championship out of like the newer championships we've seen, like the WWE Championship, the Women's Championship, the Tag Team Championships are god awful.
I mean, well,
I mean, like yes, they're kind of gaudy, but I think they're kind of like they toe the line of like gaudiness and like respectiveness, where it's just like okay, it's not like all blinged out in diamonds. I think it's a nice design.
I mean, the WWE title, it's cool, like it's fine, but then there are like 3 other championships that look exactly like it. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, like when The Rock debuted the new title, I mean, I liked it. It was like very basic.
Yeah.
But it was cool. And then so like as you said, now like both men's titles, both women's singles titles, basically all just look the same.
And then the UK men's and women's title have the same shape, so it's whatever. Yeah. Somebody I was reading on Twitter. Somebody said the women's tag titles look like just a knockoff of the New Japan Intercontinental title.
I would have to see a side by side, but I mean the IC title and the IWGP title look very similar.
Yeah.
So I mean you can't say it looks like one without saying the other one, but I wouldn't say that. I think it has a much more. I had like a starry type vibe, like a kind of like I don't know some sort of I'm not gonna say universal vibe because there's already the universal
A Milky Way
championship.
vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I just like kind of like the octagon or whatever the shape is because I don't have the picture in front of me, but I kind of remember what it looks like. It was, I mean, they're white, which for some reason is like the women's color. Like all the women's titles are white, so.
So since the Intercontinental title is white, is that a women's championship?
I mean, maybe it is. I mean, you want a singles women's championship?
Hey, there we go. No, but seriously, I think the titles, they look pretty cool. Anyway, so on a Moment of Bliss, yes, she debuts that. She tells us at not Fastlane, oh god, Elimination Chamber, 3 teams from Raw, 3 teams from Smackdown will be inside the chamber. The last team standing will be crowned the sort of first ever WWE Women's Tag Team Champions.
I hope this doesn't mean that we're gonna have like 4 elimination chamber matches. If we get like a men's one, a women's one,
Oh god,
a men's tag team and a women's tag team, like that's a lot of elimination
honestly,
chamber matches.
can that just be the women's elimination chamber? Just that.
I mean,
that's fine.
I would do away with all the gimmick pay-per-views to begin with, but
Yeah.
if you have that, I mean, you do. It's another the first ever women's tag team elimination chamber match. You can knock that one off your list. So it shouldn't be the main event because looking at all the teams that probably going to be in there, it's not going to be all that much of a match.
Look, I mean, with all these women's firsts, I'm happy for them, but there's only one first that I'm caring about that's coming up pretty soon, and it's women main eventing WrestleMania. Like the last match, not all these co-main events, these triple main events. The last match on the card is going to be the women. Ronda's going to be in there somewhere. Becky, hopefully, possibly. They're going to squeeze Charlotte in there just so she can be a part of all these accolades. But,
We'll get there when we get there.
yeah, we got some time. But anyway, yes, so Paul Heyman is the guest on Moment of Bliss, and he talks about the Fatal 4-Way match and who can face Brock. And then, a member of Heavy Machinery, Otis, how do you say his last name?
Dozovic.
Yeah, he just comes out there. I don't know if he has Tourette's or something. He was, pretty lady. Tucker Knight comes out there and excuses him, and he's like, man, those titles aren't for us.
So my worst fears are starting to come to fruition that Heavy Machinery is going to be a comedy tag team. Otis is great. Like if you see them on NXT, they've done like these sort of like wacky vlog style promos on NXT where, Otis, like it's kind of, as we saw there, like Otis is the crazy one, the crazy younger brother, and Tucker Knight's the older brother who's trying to get him under control. But then when it came down to it, like I don't think Otis was as crazy and weird, like in all those different promos that they've done, as in that one moment on the Moment of Bliss talk show. So, there's still room there. They can get serious, and they can like improve, but it's not a good look. Especially what happened on SmackDown to open the show. I'm like, oh god, it's just going to be Otis doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, it really is. Maybe they should have just stayed down in NXT.
Like the Revival.
Wow. No, you're right.
And Finn Balor and Nakamura.
Whoa, hold on. Finn, he's fine. Finn's fine. All right. Nakamura. On it. Yeah, because I just watched.
Sasha, Bailey.
I just watched on the network this hidden gems of this triple threat that happened in Los Angeles a few years ago when Nakamura was NXT champion against Samoa Joe and Eric Young, and I forgot about the magic of Nakamura. Yeah.
I mean, even NXT Nakamura is not New Japan Nakamura, but it's better than WWE Nakamura. They're slowly getting worse and worse. And Nakamura versus Rusev, which was not even a thing on SmackDown.
No, it wasn't. Speaking of SmackDown, let's get into that. SmackDown Live. Let's talk about it, baby. So, Daman, Becky Lynch, makes her way into the arena. Kayla Braxton is interviewing her. Becky says she's about to go out there and address the people and talk about Asuka. And then we see at a table in the back, The New Day and Heavy Machinery. And Otis is blending together milk and pancakes and tuna and raw eggs, and he drinks it.
With the shells.
With the shells, yes. And then Becky's like, let me give it a try. She drinks some, he's like, it's a little weak. And then she makes her way out to the arena. Thoughts on all that first?
Well, first off, my girl Kayla, not her best night. She asked a very weak question. It was like, "Are you ready for Asuka?" And I was like, that was just one of the stupidest questions I've ever seen an interview ask ever.
I'd ask that. Like, are you ready for Asuka? Like, real talk.
No, you be like, Asuka says that Becky Lynch, you're not ready for her. What do you think about that? Like, it was just more WWE corporate buzzword speak. And my girl Kayla also missed her opportunity. She didn't catch the keys. She dropped the ball, quite literally. So, Kayla, not your best work on SmackDown, but
Kayla, we still love you.
The only way you can go is up now. So then the other thing with Heavy Machinery and New Day, it's just Heavy Machinery and New Day at this point. After what happened on Raw, I'm not surprised this happened. Becky Lynch carrying herself like the man she is.
You couldn't pay me enough to. Actually, you could pay me enough to drink whatever that concoction was. That was disgusting.
I mean, I assume that there was some sort of switcheroo because I think they moved the camera and then they went back down. So there must have been some sort of switcheroo. I don't think that was the exact thing that they were actually blending.
Jesus Christ. I mean, it made my stomach turn, man.
I don't get sick by that kind of stuff, but...
Alright, well, moving on from that, Becky Lynch is out here. She's addressing the crowd. She's talking about her upcoming title match with Asuka. And then the Empress of Tomorrow, or today, whichever you want to say, because she's the champion. She comes out there and she's talking to her, and she's like, you're not ready for Asuka, and all this other stuff. And the Iconics make their way out to the ring, yada yada yada. We get Becky Lynch versus Peyton Royce. Becky defeats Peyton, while Becky is in street gear, I might add, because she can go at any time.
Not the only match that happens in street clothes today.
No, not the only one. And then, after that, Asuka goes on and defeats Billie Kay. Asuka was yelling in Japanese at one point during all this. Thoughts on it?
I think I love the Iconics, maybe a little bit too much. I know everyone thinks they're annoying, but I find them very entertaining.
They are hilarious.
And Becky Lynch, I thought her match with Peyton Royce, Becky kind of, she should have, I felt like she should have put Peyton away a little faster. But the way, how Becky's built, Peyton, maybe not a joke, I think Peyton is the better out of the two, or more, protected out of the two of the Iconics. But, Asuka destroys Billie Kay for the most part, just kind of toying with her. I felt like Becky should have kind of done the same thing with Peyton. I really liked Asuka's intensity, just her yelling in Japanese. You don't even know what she's saying, but you know what she's saying, but you don't know what she's saying. You kind of understand she's just talking trash. She's just showing great fire. And I said it before, when Asuka speaks a little bit of English, but then ends with Japanese, it's great.
Yeah. All this was fine. It was whatever. Asuka yelling in Japanese gets you fired up. And I do believe Peyton Royce is the more protected of the Iconics. She's the better worker, in my opinion. Alright, and then after all this has gone down, the phenomenal AJ Styles, his music hits, he's just walking around the ring. He's walking around throwing up 2 sweets, and then he hops over the barricade and he makes his way up the stairs to the concession area of the arena. And as we come back from commercial break, he's talking about how these people spend their hard-earned money to come watch us do what we do. They can eat whatever they want. And, he's he has like a tray of hot dogs and soda, and then he's throwing out his merchandise, and then Daniel Bryan attacks him, and they roll all up in mustard and ketchup and hot dogs.
Yeah, those were shoot ketchup containers. They were full of ketchup, and poor Daniel Bryan he got a little stain last week. His like entire pants were covered in mustard by the end of this fight. Poor Daniel Bryan.
I know.
And I mean, it was fine. It was kind of the audio wasn't exactly great because like AJ wasn't mic'd and like the crowd was yelling, so you could understand what he was saying, but it wasn't like super clear. Which I actually kind of liked a little bit. It felt more realistic.
Yeah, the realism.
We're gonna get into that a little bit later with the whole Mandy Rose situation.
Hey, bro, that was as real as it gets.
But it was kind of just a simple, straight ahead promo. Sometimes you want like the best, hottest thing going on like the penultimate episode. But hopefully next week they get like a sit down contract signing, or we get like something, because we didn't exactly get like Dana. This was the only time we really saw Dana Bryan on the show. So
just get into a food fight, guys. Like, just go balls to the wall. Have Bryan throw like vegan stuff at AJ.
Sure, why not?
No, I'm just playing. No, that's a terrible waste of the new Daniel Bryan.
Still waiting on the hemp title.
Oh, absolutely! I can't wait for it. Maybe it debuts at the Royal Rumble. We don't know.
Maybe.
All right, and then Samoa Joe, he makes his way out to the ring because he has a match with Mustafa Ali, which doesn't come to fruition because Joe dismantles Ali. And first of all, what do you think of the attack?
It was an attack. It was good, straightforward stuff. Just putting heat on Samoa Joe, kind of just being kind of real by Mustafa Ali not even taking his gear off and basically beating him up with his gear still on. Just another one of those mini feuds going into the Royal Rumble match.
Mustafa really selling those posts.
I mean, yeah, Mustafa Ali, he's got to calm down. Like I saw him at Survivor Series taking just dumb bumps, and he's another one of like I don't know if they're dumb, but they look great, but they look like they hurt like hell.
Yeah, he was selling like nobody's business. And then Joe gets interviewed backstage, and he's like, "That's just me being nice, and that's the kind of kindness I'm going to have to everybody in the Royal Rumble when I win and go on to the main event of WrestleMania for the WWE Championship." Thoughts on the promo?
It was a good promo. You know, Samoa Joe sometimes yells a little bit too much, but I think he kind of monitored that by yelling a little bit, but then speaking normally the rest. You know, this might be one of the best booked or best hyped Royal Rumbles in a while, because yes, Seth Rollins is kind of like the top guy that we all think might win, but there's also like mini feuds all over the place throughout this match. You have John Cena, Drew McIntyre, Samoa Joe, Mustafa Ali, you know, Lashley, Seth, and Dean Ambrose. That's all going on right now. There's a lot of different feuds going on, so it's going to be if it's booked well and like it's planned out where all these different feuds kind of have their own little moment to shine during the match. The Royal Rumble match should be very good.
I don't know, man. That one Rumble a few years ago with Taker, Goldberg, and Lesnar, that was billed as the biggest Royal Rumble match of all time.
But it wasn't the greatest Royal Rumble, because we all know when that happened. It happened last year.
Oh, we don't speak about that. we shouldn't. All right, yes, and then after that, a fantastic match with Andrade.
Just Andrade.
Going up and defeating the legendary luchador Rey Mysterio Jr. Thoughts on this amazing match?
Well, I can already see what your thoughts of it. I thought it was a very good match as well. Andrade being just Andrade, it's weird, just one of those Vince McMahon isms. You know, he joins Elias, Cesaro, Big E, Neville, all those other people. Okay, over under a month before she's just Zelina.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure she's just gonna be Zelina within the next month.
This is one of those names you really just should have left alone. Like all the other ones, you could have left alone, but this one you should have left alone. Nobody was bothered by it. And another thing,
it was kind of a mouthful though.
Andrade Cien Almas. I love it. I love everything about it. Anyway, look. They just keep the last name. Like, who?
Well, technically...
Cesaro, Antonio Cesaro, you know, Big E Langston.
Alexander Rusev.
Yeah, so Cien Almas, that would have been cool. So he's just Andrade. That's like... I don't know. That's like...
Well, I mean, Elias...
Dillinger. Like, just Dillinger. Or just Seth. Or just Roman.
Well, I mean, Elias got his last name chopped off.
Elias Sampson. Okay, that one works though.
I mean, Andrade. We said this like when Elias happened. We were like, okay, it's kind of weird, And then it just kind of happens out of nowhere, like, you know, the Cesaro, Biggie, like all these guys, just like they get their names chopped off, and we just run with it. We just say, okay, that's their name
He could
now,
get his name back. Apollo Crews got his name back after he was just Apollo for like a month.
because you know one dude shot up a school or whatever and had the last name Cruz. Was kind of stupid, but whatever.
Yeah.
And it was even like the same spelling, I think.
No, it was like Cruz.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, so the match, I loved it. People were all worried about Andrade being on the main roster.
I mean, he's another one of those guys with the Revival who have just not been booked particularly well. I mean, I said it last week. He beat Mysterio after losing, like, whatever, 4 straight matches. A 20-minute match on SmackDown. Very, very good match. And I also believe that they can do a lot better. So that just shows how high I think of Andrade being one of the best wrestlers in the world, and Rey Mysterio being one of the greatest Lucha Libre wrestlers in general of all time.
Yes. All right, Jimmy and Mandy. All right, so before we talk about this, I didn't watch SmackDown Live, so I see on Instagram Jimmy walk into the hotel room, and then Mandy Rose is in a robe and she unveils herself in lingerie, and I'm like, is Jimmy about to risk it all? Is that what's about to go down? So earlier on in SmackDown, the Usos are having a photo shoot, and then so this guy brings a present to Jimmy, and Jay's like, "Oh, little anniversary present, yeah." And then so
I think the Rose should have kind of gave it away, but that was just me.
you know, reads the card. It could have been from Adam Rose. We don't know.
He's still around. I thought he said he was like quitting after a couple years. I don't even know.
We'll see. Anyway, yeah. So reads the card, and it's from Mandy. It's a key to her hotel room, and so Jimmy goes there. She unveils herself, like I said, in a paparazzi photographer.
Hold on. You gotta back it up. So Jimmy goes to her hotel room with his own camera crew, and then Jimmy goes into the hotel room with a camera crew already inside looking at him, and then he goes to look at Mandy, and then it cuts away to like another camera angle to Mandy on the chair, and then she gets up, and then she unrobes, and then the paparazzi guy comes in to take pictures of them, and the whole thing was so Mandy could blackmail Jimmy, because apparently Naomi is too dumb to realize or even watch the own show she's on to think that if she sees a piece, some pictures, that this was so stupid. This was like, let's be honest, this was a worse segment than Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar last week. By far. 2019, we only had 2 shows this year. Already off to a hot start with 2 of the worst segments of the year.
Yeah, Mandy's acting, I'm not gonna lie, that was god awful. It was god awful.
I'm just not even talking about the performance. I'm talking about
the logic behind everything. Yeah, that it all makes no sense. I mean, if you want to do some juicy soap opera angle like this, watch Days of Our Lives or General Hospital or something.
But the thing with that is they don't acknowledge the camera in the room. So if this would have worked a lot better if this was Lucha Underground, because Lucha Underground, once they go outside of the temple, they don't really. I mean, I haven't seen Lucha Underground in a while, but my understanding is they don't acknowledge the camera outside. So when they're inside, they understand there's a camera there, but then on the outside, there's no camera. They just kind of act like a soap opera. So if this was Lucha Underground and they did something like that, I would have more forgiveness for this. But with WWE, there's cameras everywhere. They don't maybe acknowledge them, but they certainly know that this is for a TV show.
If you wanted to film this, you could have had a little camera, if say a sex tape was going to occur or something like that, if you wanted to film this and throw it on the big screen,
or even the TNA thing that they would have, the shaky camera guy, or just kind of having somebody just run down the hall because they see something happening, or even if Jimmy brought his own GoPro or some sort of hidden camera to where Mandy doesn't know there's a camera there, but Jimmy knows there's a camera there, so he
a little body cam.
Jimmy smartens us up that he is smartened up to what Mandy's doing, and he's not going to do any of this.
Yeah. Anyway, Mandy says she never really wanted him. It's all about getting at Naomi. Naomi shows up
out of nowhere.
Yeah, and that cut to Mandy. Oh my god. That cut, and Mandy's like, whoa, that was.
And then it all culminates to 2 women wrestling on a bed.
Yes.
Woo. Hey-o!
WWE in this new era.
So we get
For
we
it.
get Mandy Rose, who's in not like the skimpiest of lingerie, but the bra. I mean, basically her underwear kind of just look like shorts, whatever.
Look like trunks or whatever.
And then you have like Naomi in a skin tight neon
Jumpsuit.
two piece tracksuit, whatever. And it was just like, what are we doing? Is this 2003 or 2019?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell Naomi was.
Where's
You ever seen Undercover Brother?
Where's Eric Bischoff for the HLA?
Wow. You're hella Now, you ever seen Undercover Brother with Eddie Griffin? It looked like Naomi belonged in that movie with what she was wearing. It was just not good. Anyway, yeah, so I can't wait to see how the rest of this plays out. And then on
You might be the only one who's excited to see where this goes from here.
And then on Smackdown Live, it is the bestie birthday How come you never give me one of those, man?
Well,
Why?
I don't have the resources the Miz does.
True.
He's a movie star, a reality star. He's like the best fantasy football player of all time, apparently. I can't do it.
Yes. Anyway, Shane McMahon and the bestie birthday bash occurs, and they're celebrating Shane McMahon's birthday.
49th birthday.
49th birthday.
So next year it's going to be an even bigger bash. It's the old 5-0.
It's that big 5-0 or 05. There we go. That'd do it for the camera. Anyway, yeah. So that happens. The bar comes out there, and a match between Miz and Sheamus occurs. Miz wrestling in the suit, I might add.
Going for the Baron Corbin look.
Yeah, but Miz pulls it off way better.
Yes, I don't know.
Corbin,
that's the other thing with like Baron Corbin. He's not the general manager anymore. So why doesn't he just go back to his trunks and his T-shirt? Like he can wear a T-shirt. Who really cares? Like yes, he doesn't have the best body. So why does he just looks dumb wrestling in that? And it looks like constrictive too. But back to SmackDown, the Bestie Bash. It's a little guilty pleasure. It's kind of entertaining. It's also kind of dumb. The Miz, I don't know what the payoff is. Who's turning? Is there even going to be a turn?
The payoff is that...
Maybe they're just going to have like a 4-year title run and break the New Day's record.
Dude, the payoff is that the Miz and Shane McMahon, the best tag team in the world, are going to become the tag team champions.
I mean, Braun Strowman and Nicholas won last year, so now why not Miz and Shane McMahon?
Then again, Miz and Shane McMahon is a hell of a more credible than Braun Strowman and an effing child.
And who lost to Braun Strowman and Nicholas?
The Bar!
There you go.
Which is more reason why Cesaro, head over to AEW, buddy. They're waiting on you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then Shane McMahon goes up for the coast to coast and pulls up about 6 inches too short at the least.
Yeah, there's a birthday cake involved in the coast to coast. It was just a whole mess, man.
Yeah, Shane McMahon comes up like he broke a hip or something. Like Shane, maybe you should always have the trash can there because at least the trash can gives like an extra foot of leeway of you missing. So, Shane,
that's what the cake was for, though.
He even missed the cake, and like the cake was like a foot off of Sheamus's face. So,
yeah.
Anyways,
coast to coast, who did it better, RVD or Shane McMahon?
Well, RVD did it first, and he did it better.
Touche.
Exactly.
Touche. Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Superstar Spotlight. Finn Balor?
That's an easy one.
Finn Balor? Maybe Pete Dunne for that great match with Joe Coffey. Walter for just showing up.
Or Toni Storm for beating Rhea Ripley in a very good match for the NXT UK Women's Championship. Toni Storm.
I kind of saw that one coming.
Comes back and wins, and she reactivated her Instagram. Woo! Oh! And what she said, like reborn or whatever the thing is called.
Yeah.
Whatever her caption was, because it's Instagram. I barely read the captions. Let's be honest.
Oh, you got to read the captions. Captions are the best part. And those comments be fuego.
Not as fuego as YouTube comments. YouTube comments is where it's at.
Oh, you're right. Though I know some of our fans enjoy Reddit, so
I've been on Reddit, but never like deep in Reddit.
Yeah,
like
I've never
some people.
gone down like a rabbit hole.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, our promo pick of the week. Stone Cold Steve Austin gives his thoughts on the I Quit match against Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13, March 3rd, 1997. This is during a match between Psycho Sid, and I forgot who else. It goes picture in picture, and we just got Stone Cold talking about how, Shawn Michaels hurt himself. You guys made a video out of it, and all this other stuff. And he's talking about how he's going to dismantle Bret Hart. He doesn't know that many submission holds, but he's going to beat him at WrestleMania. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the Austin 316 shirt I'm wearing right now, shout out to Stone Cold. But the Austin 316 promo might be his most famous, but I'm going to be honest, this might be like my favorite Stone Cold promo of all time. I thought it was straight fire. Stone Cold's talked many times about how he didn't even really know that this was even going to be a thing of the I Quit match, and just Stone Cold saying that like he's not going to quit and all that other BS. I thought one of the best Stone Cold promos of all time, and it definitely shows just the streak he was on and how hot he was getting. And unfortunately, he goes to SummerSlam and he gets hurt and, kind of derails a little bit, but, 97 Stone Cold, just get it on, riding that wave from King of the Ring is just fantastic.
I loved the line in this where he talks about he was in like the Final Four of the Rumble or whatever, and he was in there with some of the best in the world, and he was basically going on one leg and all this other stuff. Stone Cold, that 90, 97, 98 run, fuego.
Yes.
All right, then our closed match pick of the week. Brandon, take it away.
So, the match pick of the week this week is the 1989 Royal Rumble, which actually took place 30 years ago yesterday, I believe on January 15th. And Big John Studd actually wins the Royal Rumble, but we're focusing on the segment when Hulk Hogan accidentally eliminates Randy Savage. He dumps him over the top. Randy Savage comes back into the ring. They get into a big old argument. And then, of course, this is setting up the WrestleMania 5 where the Mega Powers exploded. So this is kind of like the tipping point where everything just kind of goes downhill for the Mega Powers.
This is actually funny that you did this because last week on Cheap Heat with Peter Rosenberg and Stat Guy Greg, they were going over the Saturday night's main event in which the Mega Powers implode and Hogan carries Elizabeth back to the back and leaves Randy in that tag match with Big Boss Man and Akeem, the African Dream.
And what was my promo pick last week? When the Mega Powers got together and they were like, shaking each other's hand with Mean Gene. So, a little continuity on this podcast.
You know what I realized when I was listening to that? I've gone and watched the match since then. Hulk Hogan had to say some stuff to get a Southern Cobb County cop and Big Boss Man, Slick, and Akeem, the African Dream, all to coincide together to go up against the Mega Powers. Hogan must have said some stuff.
Okay.
Because you said he's not no angel.
Mm-hmm.
So even back then.
Might even been worse.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot we don't know. Maybe we should just keep up this whole Mega Powers thing, man.
Well,
I'm enjoying it.
It's a 30-year anniversary.
Yeah, because they on that show they did like commentary of the match or whatever. Maybe we should get into doing some more match commentaries.
I think, your most famous video on YouTube was you guys doing like a New Japan one. Shibata and, was it Tanahashi?
Maybe when the 30th anniversary comes around, we do commentary of Macho Man and Hulk Hogan for the title. WrestleMania 5?
Maybe. So, yeah. A lot of my match picks, and I want to kind of keep the whole anniversary trend going. 98, 99. The one of them that I should have picked a few weeks ago was the Mankind winning his first ever WWF Championship. Biggest pop of all time when Stone Cold comes out, makes the save. So, that's a secondary match pick
on my birthday, I might add. 99. Shout out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, follow us on Twitter at Bulletcast, Instagram, The Bulletcast, YouTube channel, The Bulletcast. Email us, bulletcast2 is in the number 2, sweet SWET at gmail.com. 99.9 FM KW in Watsonville every Friday night, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. We're on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, TuneIn. We're all over the place. Hopefully you might see us at StarCast. You never know, because I know I'm going double or nothing. Brandon said he's going double or nothing. So it's gonna be some interesting times coming up heading into the summer for the Bulletcast boys. Royal Rumble next week. What you doing for the Rumble, buddy?
Well, next week I will be going to Lake Tahoe, so I'll be going on a little mini vacation before school starts up. So I will be back in time for the Royal Rumble. Don't know what I'm doing for NXT. Maybe do a little podcast if I'm able to watch in time. Maybe not. Who exactly knows? Yes. But we're gonna figure out after the podcast over when we will do this. If it's same time next week, I will be here. If not, who knows what will happen.
Yes. I will be providing you with an instant analysis of the Royal Rumble match. Brandon will give you an analysis of TakeOver.
Eventually.
Eventually.
Might not be Saturday, but definitely,
Eventually.
Monday or Tuesday, something like that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week on the Go Home Show for the Royal Rumble. My title is on the line in a week from Sunday, and I'm looking to retain and continue this historic reign. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Goodbye and good night.
Bank.
This has been the Bulletcast. Thank you for listening.